At 7:27 p.m., a car was reported off the road. At 7:46, Maura Murray was gone. On a winter night in rural New Hampshire, that is the shape of the mystery. A vehicle off Route 112 near Woodsville. A local resident reporting it at 7:27 p.m. A brief interaction with the driver. Police arriving at 7:46 p.m. And between those 2 points in time, a space so narrow it can almost be held in one breath, the known record changes completely. Maura Murray was present after the crash. Then, when officers arrived, she was not. What remained was the car, still near the roadside, and personal belongings left behind. What did not remain was Maura herself. There was no confirmed explanation waiting at the scene. No verified account that closed the gap. No immediate answer to the question that has followed this case for years. How does a person disappear after a crash, after being seen, after help is offered, and before police arrive? Maura was 21 years old. She was a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. On February 9, 2004, before the crash, she left campus in her car and drove north. The reason for that drive remains unknown. That point matters, because it is where careful storytelling has to stop short of certainty. We know she left. We know she traveled north. We know her car later came to rest off Route 112 near Woodsville, New Hampshire. But the public record does not fully explain why she made that trip, what she expected to find, or what she believed would happen next. The place matters because it is where the confirmed timeline narrows. Route 112 is not just the setting of the final verified moments. It is the point where the case shifts from a young woman traveling alone to a missing person investigation defined by absence. The road, the vehicle, the report, and the arrival time give investigators a frame. But inside that frame, the most important detail is missing for Maura's family, including her father, Fred Murray. The search for answers became a long and deeply public effort. But even after years of attention, one central fact has remained unchanged. Maura Murray disappeared on February 9, 2004, after a single vehicle crash on Route 112 near Woodsville. The case begins with a young woman leaving campus. It reaches its sharpest point beside a rural road. And it remains unresolved because the space between those two known times has never been fully explained. The timeline opens earlier that day with a message that would later become one of the most discussed details in the case. Maura emailed her professors and her work supervisor, saying she would be away for a week because of a death in the family. Her relatives later said that death in the family had not occurred. That is a confirmed detail in the record, but it does not answer the larger question. It does not prove what Maura intended. It does not prove she meant to disappear. It does not prove she expected harm. It shows that she gave a false explanation for her absence, and that fact has to be treated as a clue, not a conclusion. After that, Maura left the University of Massachusetts Amherst campus in her car and drove north. The exact circumstances of that departure remain unclear in the supplied record. That uncertainty is important because it leaves the beginning of the day open. Investigators and the public can see certain fixed points, but they cannot see the full private chain of decisions that led from campus to rural New Hampshire. Between those points, there is room for questions, but not for certainty. Then comes the moment the case tightens. At 7:27 p.m., a local resident reported a car off the road near his home on Route 112 near Woodsville. A passing motorist briefly stopped and offered help. According to the account commonly cited in the case, the driver declined assistance and indicated that help had already been called. That exchange is one of the few direct windows into the minutes after the crash. It suggests Maura was alive, present, and able to communicate after the vehicle left the road. But it does not explain why she declined help. It does not confirm what she did next, and it does not tell us whether she left the scene alone, encountered someone, or made a decision that cannot now be reconstructed. At 7:46 p.m., police arrived. Maura was gone. Her vehicle was still there. Her belongings were still there. The road, the weather, the scene, and the crash were all still part of the physical record. But the person at the center of the investigation had vanished from the only place investigators could confirm she had been. That is the frame the case keeps returning to. A reported crash, a brief offer of assistance, a 19-minute gap, and then silence. The verified timeline shows that Maura Murray was present after the crash and missing by the time police arrived. It does not prove how she left the roadside. It does not prove where she went. It does not prove whether she was alone. The gap is small in time, but enormous in consequence. And that is why this case remains so difficult. The known facts are not broad and sprawling. They are compact, precise, and deeply unsettling in their simplicity. A car is found. A young woman is seen. Help is offered. Police arrive. She is gone. Every theory has to pass through that narrow opening, and every theory reaches the same barrier. The evidence does not carry the story beyond the roadside. The physical evidence begins with what was left behind. Maura's vehicle remained off Route 112 after the crash, and personal belongings were still inside or at the scene when police arrived. Those details anchor the case to a specific location, but evidence can mark a place without explaining a disappearance. A car on the roadside tells investigators where the timeline paused. It does not, by itself, tell them where the timeline resumed. The witness interaction matters just as much. The passing motorist's brief contact with the driver is one of the few moments in which Maura can be placed at the scene after the crash. According to the known account, assistance was offered and declined. That detail has been interpreted in different ways, but interpretation is not proof. It may suggest she believed help was already coming. It may suggest she did not want immediate assistance from that person. It may simply reflect a stressful moment after a crash. The public record does not allow us to state more than that with confidence. This is the central problem with the evidence. It is real, but incomplete. The vehicle is there. The belongings are there. The witness encounter is there. The report at 7:27 p.m. is there. The police arrival at 7:46 p.m. is there. But no confirmed sighting has closed the space between those points and the unanswered future that followed. After years of investigation, the record still does not provide a verified answer to the simplest and hardest question in the case. How did Maura Murray leave that roadside scene? And what happened after she did? Because the evidence does not settle that question, the case has always attracted competing interpretations. Some believe Maura may have intended to disappear voluntarily, pointing to the unannounced travel preparations and the false explanation she gave before leaving campus. Others suspect foul play because of the abrupt nature of the disappearance and the lack of confirmed sightings after the crash. Both views are theories. Neither is proven by the confirmed record. The facts do not establish a voluntary disappearance, and they do not establish a criminal act. They show only that Maura was there. that her car was found, and that by the time police arrived, she was missing. That distinction is not just cautious language. It is necessary. Missing person cases often create pressure to turn uncertainty into a story, but uncertainty is not evidence. An unanswered question does not prove guilt. An unusual decision does not prove intent. A false explanation does not tell us what happened on a dark road hours later. In Maura's case, the responsible approach is to hold the confirmed facts apart from the possibilities people have attached to them. The official posture of the case changed as time passed, and no resolution emerged. Early on, police considered the possibility that Maura had chosen to leave voluntarily. That early assessment was tied to what investigators could see at the time, including the circumstances of her travel and the lack of immediate public evidence proving foul play at the scene. But a possibility is not a finding. It is not a legal conclusion. It is a starting point in an investigation where the outcome was still unknown. In 2009, the case was transferred to New Hampshire's cold case unit. Since then, it has been treated as a suspicious missing person investigation. That wording is careful, and it matters. Suspicious does not mean solved. It does not mean a suspect has been proven responsible. It does not mean charges have been filed in the supplied record, or that a court has determined what happened. It means investigators have not closed the door on wrongdoing, even though no criminal explanation has been proven. There are no convictions in the supplied record. There is no proven criminal narrative that can be stated as fact. And because there is no trial record here, there are no defense claims to weigh against an established prosecution case. What remains is the investigative posture itself. An open missing person case, treated as suspicious, built around a timeline that has never produced a definitive answer. That leaves the story anchored to the same impossible detail. After a single vehicle crash on Route 112, Maura Murray was seen in the aftermath, briefly spoken to, and then gone before police arrived. The 19-minute window remains the hardest part of the timeline to explain. It is the space where the confirmed record ends and the unanswered questions begin. Why did she drive north? Why did she decline assistance? What happened after the crash, in the minutes no one can fully account for? Searches, public appeals, and reviews have followed over the years, but the central problem has not changed. There have been no confirmed sightings that resolve the case, no definitive lead in the supplied record that closed the gap, and no official answer that explains how the disappearance unfolded. The investigation remains open because the timeline still does not reconcile the last verified moments with the empty roadside police found when they arrived. For Maura's loved ones, the absence of an answer is not an abstract mystery. It is a loss suspended in time. Every anniversary, every renewed search, every public discussion returns to the same unresolved place. The road is known. The date is known. The report time is known. The arrival time is known. What remains unknown is the one detail that would change everything. What happened to Maura Murray after she disappeared from Route 112? So the case is left where it has always been left, with a car off the road, belongings behind, a witness account that fixes Maura in place for only a moment, and a silence that has lasted for years. The 19 minutes between 7:27 and 7:46 are not the whole story of Maura Murray's life, and they should not be treated that way. But they are the narrowest part of the investigation, the point where fact and uncertainty meet, and the unanswered distance that continues to define one of New Hampshire's most haunting missing person cases. Follow Whispered Cases for a new case every week. Subscribe so you never miss one.